As the operator of the Humidaire unit, you will be in charge of understanding and controlling the relative humidity of the air that will be applied to the cotton. You might have several targets to keep in mind as you do this. You may wish to attain a specific moisture content for each bale to optimize turnout for the gin's growers. You might want to use the effects of the warm, moist air to reduce hydraulic pressure on the press. You may want to apply the moist air to seed cotton at the gin stands to minimize loss in staple and strength when ginning in dry conditions. We will begin by taking a look at the air temperature controller on the remote control. This is the controller on the left. The control will not energize until the burner is started. Turn on the burner by momentarily turning the switch on the left to the right, marked with a 1, and releasing it. If the burner does not start, it will display an error code number and description on the LCD panel inside the main cabinet. This number and the date and time it occurred will be stored in the control system for future reference. Read the problem description, correct the condition that caused it, and press the button marked Select to acknowledge the error and reset the unit. When oil-fired products are first installed, it is sometimes helpful to give the fuel valve a little boost to help get air out of the fuel lines and get the burner familiar with its new home away from the Samuel Jackson testing area. To do this, remove the pins from the linkage between the motor and the fuel valve. No tools are required for this. Do not remove the rod at this time. We will let the motor and the burner head perform their safety switch test while they are connected. Start the unit, and after the motor exercises the fuel valve, go ahead and quickly remove the linkage. Do not disturb the position of the brass plugs on the rod. When the combustion air fan pauses to try ignition, you will also hear the hiss of compressed air and the crackle of the spark igniter as your signal. Gently rotate the fuel valve forward a few inches to increase the fuel flow through the valve. It is similar to revving the engine of a car that needs some help starting. Observe the fuel flow in the flow meter at the burner head while you're doing this. If you see air bubbles in the line, repeat the procedure until the air bubbles are gone. When the burner lights, you will hear a pop and see the orange glow of an oil-fired flame inside the burner head. In a few moments, you will see the motor linkage arm moving forward in response to the temperature controls, which will be calling for more heat. Go ahead and move the valve forward to increase the flame. At this time, you may go ahead and reinsert the valve linkage bar and reinsert the pins in the brass plugs to secure it. After a few hours of operation at normal temperatures, the burner will settle into its new home and provide many years of trouble-free ignition and dependable performance. After the burner comes on, this control will begin at the last temperature used. This may need to be adjusted up or down depending on ginning and weather conditions. For first-time users, we recommend starting with an air temperature of 53 degrees Celsius as you learn about the unit. Set 53 by using the 2 arrow buttons on the lower face of the controller in the center. The flame will get large momentarily as it warms up the piping and fan. It should quickly turn back down as the temperature reading rises close to 53. If you do not see the air temperature on the upper display of the controller respond upward within 20 seconds, turn the unit off and request technical help. There may be a problem in the temperature control circuit. If all is well, the upper number displayed will soon match the lower number you have set at 53, and the flame will stabilize with a relatively small flame. In order for the water pump to turn on, 3 things must occur. First, the water pump switch on the remote control must be turned on. This switch can be left in this position almost all the time under normal conditions. The warm-up time delay, which is normally set to 90 seconds, must be complete. The lint flue scanner, if used, must be seeing cotton. The water temperature controller will energize when the pump turns on. We will begin with a water temperature setting of 50 degrees Celsius. Use the arrow buttons to make this setting. As the 2-inch water valve on the unit begins to open, the hot air will be cooled and you will see the temperature indication on the upper display of the air controller begin to fall from 53 degrees. You will soon begin to see the flame become much larger as it responds to this cooling effect from the water. Within about 10 minutes of operation, both the air and water temperatures should closely match the settings of 53 and 50 that you have made on each controller. During operation, you may find that you need more or less moisture. Sometimes cooler conditions or night ginning will call for much less moisture. A common mistake is to think that both temperatures must be raised or lowered to accomplish this. When the separation is greater between the air and water temperatures, less moist air is provided. For example, in cold weather ginning, where condensation is a danger, the air is often run at 60 degrees Celsius with a very low water temperature of about 40 degrees Celsius. To increase moist air output, the water temperature must be set closer to the air temperature. On a hot, dry afternoon, you may want these to be equal to each other for maximum output. If both temperatures are raised, for instance to 60 degrees centigrade or more moisture is provided. This may be necessary when ginning in hot weather under dry conditions or with machinery that works better with higher temperatures. Experience will be your guide in finding the perfect temperatures to operate at under various conditions. Some machinery, like the Samuel Jackson steamroller or moisture tracker, may be operated with an embedded moisture sensor. When used with the Moisture Mirror touchscreen control system, the operator sets his preferred air temperature and enters the desired final moisture content on the touchscreen of the mirror. The moisture mirror automatically sets the water temperature to achieve desired final moisture content. If no automatic control is being used, we recommend that the operator use a Delmhorst Model C2000 digital moisture meter to occasionally check bale moisture. He should also observe press hydraulic pressure, as this is a good indicator of Humidaire performance. Water temperature may then be changed manually to achieve the desired results. Before attempting to gin cotton, turn off the water pump and let the warm, dry air from the unit evaporate any condensation that might make the lint stick to machinery. This should only take a few minutes. When starting up the gin, the Humidaire fan and burner should be the first thing turned on. This will allow more time to warm the machinery and help keep condensation minimized. For many years, Humidaire units operated so that if cotton flow stopped, the water pump would immediately turn off, changing the warm, moist air to warm, dry air to prevent condensation. New units, like the 1265, can still operate this way. It's called the traditional mode of operation. The normal operating mode for the 1265 is relatively new. It is called enhanced mode of operation. It is a little more complex, but has a number of benefits. When cotton flow stops while operating in enhanced mode, the water pump continues to run for up to 2 minutes without cotton. While the pump runs, the main water valve closes to minimize water spray and moisture output. This keeps the spray chamber from overheating due to the sudden absence of water pressure at high fire. It also provides faster resumption of moist air output if the pause in ginning is brief. The mode of operation can be changed by using the diagnostic and test routines described in the service manual. There are 2 common ways to shut down a Humidaire unit. If turning it off at either the remote control or the main cabinet, the on-off selector switch can be turned to the left, marked 0. We recommend turning it to the left momentarily and releasing it. This will shut down the unit, providing for a programmed cool-down cycle that will make maintenance easier and provide for longer product life. It will take about 2 minutes for all valves and motors on the unit to come to rest when this is done. Alternatively, if there is an emergency, an immediate and total shutdown is desired, turn the knob as described, but hold it for 3 seconds before releasing. The unit will immediately close all valves, turn off all motors, and cease operation. The HU60-1265 is an advanced moisture control tool. Through practice, you, as the operator, will learn to use it as your most effective resource in moisture restoration.